This is the sixth installment of McDermott's State Law Privacy video series, where we give quick insights into the new privacy laws in California, Colorado, and Virginia. Today, I wanted to talk about advertising technology, or ad tech, and the significant changes that are coming down the pike for both ad tech companies and publishers that serve targeted advertisements, as well as for companies that are ad buyers or advertisers who use advertising technology products as part of their digital marketing campaigns. In short, the new privacy laws will much more clearly extend consumer opt-out rights to the use of data for targeted advertising. And in doing so, these laws will also much more clearly apply to advertisers themselves, as opposed to just ad tech companies and publishers. So the upshot is that companies in all industries that provide or use targeted advertising technologies will likely need to give consumers the right to opt out in compliance with these new laws by January 1 of next year. Let's break that down. Right now, the only effective comprehensive state privacy law is the California CCPA. Under the CCPA, consumers have the right to opt out of the sale of their personal information. And sale is defined as the transfer of consumer data for, quote, monetary or other valuable consideration. Now, it's fairly clear that the intent in drafting that definition was to cover transfers of data for targeted advertising purposes. However, in practice, ad tech data flows are just really complicated, and it's ultimately unclear whether many of these practices qualify as sales under the CCPA. It also matters a lot which side of the data exchange you're on. Buyers of data are not sellers under the CCPA, and therefore do not have to worry about the opt-out rights. As a result, many companies, especially ad buyers or advertisers, have taken the position that the purchase of targeted advertising itself is not a sale of data, and that even if there is an exchange of data, that exchange is incidental to facilitate the overall purchase of the ad tech services. Okay, whether or not you agree with that argument, things are changing. The CPRA will introduce a new opt-out right in California for the sharing of personal information. And sharing for those purposes is basically defined to mean sharing data for the purpose of targeted advertising. Further, laws in both Colorado and Virginia extend an opt-out right to explicitly cover the use of personal data for targeted advertising, with targeted advertising being defined very similar to how it's defined as sharing in California. In all of these states, these new laws much more clearly extend an opt-out right to advertising technologies. And as mentioned, by dropping the language about data sales, these rights will now also clearly extend to the larger set of companies that just use ad tech as part of their marketing campaigns. The buy-side, sell-side analysis that some ad buyers may currently be relying on just disappears under these new laws. So what does all this mean? Well, for just about every company that's subject to these laws, it means that you need to take a close look at your marketing practices and see whether or not you need to provide one of these opt-outs. Even if you currently offer an opt-out under the CCPA or otherwise, you will want to ensure that that opt-out complies with the requirements under these new laws. In particular, companies will need to look at the question of whether and how to respond to universal opt-out signals, which we expect to be further addressed in upcoming rulemaking efforts in both California and Colorado. Ad tech companies, especially those on the demand side, should prepare for additional questions from their customers regarding the implementation of these opt-out rights, as well as for contractual addenda, which we plan to address in another video in the coming weeks. If you liked this video, be sure to check out the other videos in this series with quick takes on these emerging privacy law developments. And stay tuned for next week's video, where we will be addressing new data subject appeal rights. Thanks for watching.